What if there was a way out of this? Something that would allow us to be together again, even if for a limited time. Where we could meet new people and find support in the ambitions we have for the future. Surely there's some way for us to live again in a community, with others who share our values and are looking for a way to truly connect. Asking the questions of what is essential? What are the kinds of relationships we want, and how can we live well together in this time and going forward from this? Because things fundamentally changed, and we need a chance to really integrate this past year and check in with both ourselves and others from the shared collective journey that we've been through. I believe there is a way. And in this video, I want to share with you what that is. So for those of you new to this channel, my name's Alex Kennedy, and I talk about co-living and community, creativity and tech, and how new forms of collaboration can bring these together to transform the narratives that underpin our society today. And this video is very much around one of the key aspects that I'm planning to launch this year, which is clustered co-living communities. I'm going to be giving some details around what it is, what the process is, and where this fits into a larger strategy. This is a project that I'm stewarding into existence this year as part of Once. Once is a multi-layered concept that brings together all the things I just mentioned and represents a community of purpose-driven freelancers, rebel thinkers, and creators who believe that there is a way to change the narratives and systems that we find ourselves in through small-scale innovations. I will go into more of the aspects of Once in the future, but in this video, I just want to focus in on the clustered co-living communities and how these would work. So there's three sections of this experience that I want to break down here. There's the curation, the cluster, and the community. The curation. So this is where the real innovation happens. I can't really give all of the details around this at the moment, but I will just overview the process briefly. After an initial form, just to get some basic details, there'll be a follow-up with a brief personality test, just to give a baseline understanding of each person. We will then pair people up into Zoom calls, which will be booked based on each other's calendars, and following on from the learnings of this call, we will curate people into initial groups. Now there is some element of trust in this by the fact that I can't take you through all of the curation process, partly because some of it still needs to be developed, but also by the fact that knowing the process may influence how you perceive the experience. So I think it's important for this to really feel as natural and social as possible, and I don't want to give away any of the tricks just yet. And then the next stage to this is an online event. There are many possible platforms for this, but we will be using GatherTown to bring people together. By the fact that it's spatial, this means that we can easily get into groups and we can follow each other around like Pikachu. It's a pretty cool platform, and I've done a couple of events on it already, and it really works out for this kind of thing. Everyone will be dropped into a smaller room, likely with the people that they've had that one-on-one conversation with. Then we will gather the groups together and get people into different arrangements with a couple of starting points to get some conversation going. So essentially this will be a way of getting to know everyone really well in a short amount of time, and will just be a place that we can also hang out once we're finished. Following on from the event, everyone will be added to a database where they can follow each other on socials if they want to. And then from here, the curation begins. You'll have one more Zoom call with the group that you're going to be moving in with, and you can make any last requests at this point. And then you just pay the deposit, and then you get to move in on the starting date, ready to explore with your new friends a new form of community. So we've covered the curation. Now I'm going to talk about the cluster. Why a cluster? Well, the reason is, let's be honest, if you were going to do this with a bunch of friends and just pick a house randomly and all move out there, you would get sick of each other, like pretty quick, especially if it's people that you have already a relationship with. Then you're putting it into a bit of a tense situation. You might not necessarily get along, and organizing that whole thing is going to be a bit of a nightmare anyway. What this is it's almost like a slow motion event. It's essentially a temporary workation where you can be out in nature and balance your work with meaningful downtime. You can enjoy the variation of a larger group, but still have some privacy and your own space. Now I know what you're thinking. Pandemic, large groups, these two things do not go together, and I am aware of that. But I firmly believe that this is the time for out-of-the-box thinking and trialing out some of these alternative ideas that don't just completely rely on a vaccine. If you'd like to learn more about my perspective on this and how forming these kind of bubbles could help us in this pandemic, I've been in another video that breaks down a bit of an idea that I came up with that's kind of this is based off of. So that might give some context to my thinking and how I kind of got to this solution. So the plan is everyone will be joining their specific house where they can co-work together. There'll be focused sessions. People could be making evening meals to get to know each other better. Everyone's free to go and explore the surroundings, get exercise, but there should be no mingling between houses until the 10th day has passed. Now, this is obviously because of the incubation period, but I think this is a perfect amount of time for you to get to know the people in your house anyway. Once this time has passed, though, the houses can be sharing meals together. They can be hosting little events, exploring the surroundings together, all of that kind of stuff. I believe that this is the start of how we can build real community out from this pandemic. So I've talked about the curation part of this and the clusters. Now I want to talk about the community. This is part of something far bigger, which I can't really go into in this video. It would take too long, but just to give my own personal intentions, I really want the people that participate in this to be able to better collaborate with each other in the future. Through living with each other in these communities, we will naturally become more aware of each other's needs, our shared interests, and how we might be able to support each other over the long term. So even before these clusters kick off, people will be added to an online community where they can be sharing the things that interest them and getting to know each other a bit. And through this, my intention is that everyone will be able to build on these connections that they've developed in these spaces and lay the foundations for new possibilities to emerge out of these relationships. This platform will act as a container for a far larger mission that explores solidarity and social sovereignty through these connections. And this will be added to with community building events and fluid ways of sharing jobs and tools and resources and support for each other. All of this will be added in over time to give the opportunity of leveraging our potential with others that share our values, giving us the capacity to create a life with freedom, community, and purpose. There's a lot more to this that I'd love to share with you, but I hope this just gives an overall perspective of what to expect with the clustered, curated co-living experience. And if you'd like to sign up, there's a form in the description, or you can check out the website. So I've given a bit of an overview of clustered co-living communities. If you're interested to learn more about this, I've done some other videos which I'll show on screen right now. Don't forget to do the likes and comments and shebangs. I will see you in the next one, guys.